It's clerics! Turns out clerics make you the best assassin. Let's talk about why and what else you need right now. Now, you could be forgiven for thinking the most obvious way is to just play an assassin rogue. It's right there in the name, but you'd be missing out on so much. The assassin rogue is actually only a small part of what making a great assassin is. There's so much you can do when you know that you're going to crit. Now, as a caveat, the builds that we're talking about here in this video really only pop off when you've got surprise on your enemy. That's the assassin's assassination feature. Now, to make the best assassin, you want to look outside of rogues. We're going to start with the Gloom Stalker Ranger. If you want to end a fight the round it starts, Gloom Stalker is probably one of the best ways to go. It's arguably the best ranger out there, and a little Gloom Stalker, say 3 levels, goes a long, long way. The first thing that we get is Dread Ambusher, which is a tricky effect to kind of process the first couple of times you use it, but it's important, so let's talk about it. Dread Ambusher lets you add your Wisdom modifier to initiative, perfect for a surprise round, or a surprise attack if you want it. And during the first round of combat, or our first round of combat, you can make 1 extra weapon attack whenever you take the attack action. If that extra attack hits, it deals an extra d8 of bonus damage. You still with me? Basically, when you take the attack action, you get to do an extra hit and deal extra damage. But if you really want to grab a feat or improve your first round of attacks as a Gloom Stalker Ranger / assassin, what you want to do is grab some levels in Fighter. Fighter has a lot to offer. Battle Master or Samurai is really good. Arcane Archer if you want to focus on ranged weapons. Pick 5 levels of Fighter if you can swing it. 2 gets you Action Surge, which is already spicy, but 5 levels gets you extra attack, which adds 1 extra attack to every attack action, bringing you to a total of 3 attacks per attack action in the first round if you are a Gloom Stalker. Now, add to that the fact that you're also 3 levels of Assassin Rogue. Hey, you knew this was coming. And you get the every hit is an auto crit ability, so that is potentially 6 different critical hits that you can do in the first round of combat. Now, it does take until 11th level to get there, but even as early as 5th level, you're still hitting hard, making that first round go a long, long way. So here's basically how this build works. As we said, you can get 6 attacks pretty reliably. Slightly more if you're dual wielding and have a bonus action to spare, but honestly, that's of debatable use. So your first round will probably look something like this. You make as many attacks as you can from surprise. That's it. It's super simple, but it's super deadly. You'll get 2 attacks, 1 from just making an attack action, 1 from extra attack, and then because of Dread Ambusher, you get that 3rd extra attack. You deal an extra bonus d8 from doing that. Then you're a fighter, you action surge, you do all of that again. That's 6 total attacks, 2 from Dread Ambusher, which if you hit with all of them and you have surprise, all of those are crit. And if all 6 of those attacks hit and you have surprise, you're critting on all of them, which is a total of 8d8 per round of attacks. So with Action Surge, that's 16d8, plus potentially an additional, if you're a Battle Master fighter, an additional like 8d8, because every crit adds your superiority die, which is doubled, so that's 2, and you can spend 4 over the course of your attacks. That is a pile of extra damage. And let's not forget, you still technically have Sneak Attack, which you only get on 1 attack, but that's a potential 4d6, 2 that are multiplied because of the crit, or doubled because of the crit. So when all is said and done, assuming 6 critical hits, that's 16d8 plus 4d6 plus whatever other bonuses you have. Plus, you've got a potential extra 8d8 if you use all of your Battle Master maneuver dice on every attack. They're also doubled. They're dice. It's a crit. Looking at all of that stuff together, you've got 24d8 plus 4d6 points of damage, which is like 122 points of damage on average before you add any other static bonuses. And with a feat like Sharpshooter or something like that, if you got it, that's a potential like 60 extra damage that you can be doing just on top of everything else from the sheer number of attacks that you are making on your first round of combat. What about the Paladin assassin? That's right, Paladins make perfect assassins, especially because Paladins love critting, but really, you only need like 2 levels of Paladin to feel good about critting. All you really need to make this build go off is Divine Smite. You also need 3 levels of Assassin Rogue to get Assassination, which lets you auto crit when you have Surprise. And then let's pile on 6 levels of Sorcerer, which makes us technically a 7th level Spellcaster per the multi-classing rules, which gives us access to exactly 1 4th level slot. But because we're a sorcerer, we can spend all of our resources in a single attack, and who doesn't want to do that? We can squeeze with sorcery points 2 4th level spell slots into a single encounter, into a single attack action. So if you are a paladin, you want to fight with 2 weapons because this requires dual wielding. Stab someone once and smite for everything you're worth and crit, and then you do it again with an offhand weapon. So your first weapon, let's say it's like a long sword or whatever you're fighting with, good old D8, trusty D8 damage dealer. You get 2d8 from critting with that. Then you smite. You smite for everything you're worth, and that gets you, if you're using a 4th level slot, that gets you 5d8 normally, which becomes 10d8. So we're starting at 12d8, plus 4d6 from the critical sneak attack that you get as a 3rd level assassin. Then you do that again. You get another 10d8 from a second smite, plus I think this offhand one can't be a longsword unless there's some trick that you've managed, but still that's another 2d6. So that's 22d8 plus 66, which is 120 points of damage on average. Once again, incredibly valuable. But if you really want to know how to do even more damage than that on the first round, the best assassin comes with a little bit of cleric on the side. Specifically, we're talking about grave clerics. You just need 2 levels, squeeze them into one of those builds, or give yourself like an extra boost. Let's get to 13th level. Why not? Make your DM play so that you can pull this off. But then basically at the start of whatever round, you've got surprise on your enemy. You're going before they are. Use your death knell ability to make them vulnerable to all the damage that you're about to do. So that means that not only with a crit are you doubling the pile of dice that you're gonna roll, you're also doubling the number that you roll. You can also, I guess, have a Death Knell cleric friend, but they also have to be really good at initiative, and it just gets trickier as soon as you start having to rely on anyone other than yourself, just like in real life. As you've seen with these other classes, you can really Nova and like deal a ton of damage, but at the end of the day, after all of that, you're still a at least 5th level fighter or a paladin with spells. Like, you still have stuff that you'll be doing turn to turn. It won't be nearly as dramatic as all of that, but you also won't be as squishy as a rogue who just has really a good 1 round and that's it. What's your favorite way to be an assassin? Do you have another build? Did we miss a trick? Let us know in the comments, and we'll like it or give you a prize. No, we won't. If you want to be a top-tier assassin, you're going to need a top-tier magic sword. Here's a video you can watch to make sure you're not using a boring one. I'm JR from Bulls. Thanks for watching. Goodbye.